Hello, hello, my magical friends. Welcome to this week's Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika. I am here to give you insight, guidance, and the tools to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So this week, I want to talk about what happens when you don't feel anything from your crystals. Like we tend to gravitate towards rocks, right? Like witches love rocks. And you hear and see a lot of people talking about their crystals and how they use particular crystals to, in energy work or in their spell work, or just, I like to put it underneath my pillow, right? And I wanted to touch on that this week because I want you to know that not everybody feels energy from crystals. Not everybody feels energy in all the things that are around them all the time. Okay. So again, I was having a discussion the other day and one person was fretting. This girl was literally fretting because she simply doesn't feel anything from her crystals. And that put doubt in her mind of what type of witch she was, or whether or not she could be a quote unquote real witch because she couldn't feel that energy. She didn't connect with crystals like that. I assured her, just like I'm telling you guys, that you absolutely do not need to connect with or feel anything from everything that is around you to be a powerful witch, to be a quote unquote real witch, whatever that means these days, right? Your craft is all about finding what you connect to. It's about figuring out what has magical energy to you and then learning how to use that connection in your practice. So maybe you don't feel anything from crystals. That's okay. They're still pretty to look at. And maybe you don't find that herbs do anything for you, but they still make things taste delicious, which is kind of magical all in of itself. But anyway, and maybe you don't ever feel like using different forms of divination. Maybe divination just isn't your thing. But you know what? You don't have to worry about it because your guides are still going to find a way to talk to you and to get your messages through to you. Finding the things that you emotionally connect with and that you resonate with is the major part, if not one of the most important parts of your witchery and your path of discovery of being the most powerful witch that you can be. And this is because I've said before, and I'm going to kind of reiterate a little bit, that we have all seen the correspondence charts, right? Red means love and green means money, or, whatever the correlations may be, right? The correspondence charts. We have to keep in mind that those charts were created by they were created by a person, right? Or people. And that's why sometimes you see ones that are a little bit different, but really it's one person that created a correspondence chart and then everybody else started adopting it, and using that as their own practice guideline as well. The emotional connection and response that you have to the tools and or ingredients that you're using in your craft, whether that is in, kitchen witchery and your cooking or spell crafting or ritual work, whatever it is that you're using, your tools and your ingredients, you have to have an emotional connection to them. They have to be able to elicit a response from you. So therefore, if you pick up a, rose quartz and it does nothing for you other than being a pretty rock, then okay, you could probably still incorporate it if you wanted it to be incorporated into a ritual, but as a focal point, as something for you, and not a focal point of your magic, but a focal point of your focus, because it's pretty, right? It's still alluring to you in that way, but you're not going to get the response or connect to it in the way that is in the traditional correspondence for self-love, love, that kind of thing, right? So you can still incorporate it, but don't depend on that to be working your magic, to be amplifying your magic when you don't have a connection to it. Find something else that does. And if it's not crystals, then it's not crystals. Then you need to move along to something else that you can find that elicits an emotional response from you. Maybe instead of using crystals, you'll use flowers, right? Maybe carnations or roses really mean, love and passion to you, and that's what you want your spell work to be around. Well, then leave the crystals out and use what you know you connect with. Because that is what raises the vibration. Emotion raises vibration. It also lowers vibration, right? Depending on kind of what we're feeling oftentimes, but it raises vibration. That's how you raise energy with your emotions. So if you don't have a response from something, you can't be emotional about it. So therefore, you should look for something else that's going to work amazingly well for you. So if you're feeling like less than a witch because you can't relate to the experiences of others and how, they're connecting to something and they speak so highly and so amazingly about, their work with crystals and the energy they can feel and how they can feel it vibrate and, how it gets cold or warm in their hands. Not to say they're not having those experiences. It's just that they're more in tune with that crystal rock energy. And you're not at this point. But know that you're not alone. You're not the only one that just goes, yeah, okay, crystals are nice, like they're pretty, but they don't do anything for me. Don't force yourself to make them do something or put them into your spell work because they're supposed to do something. There are plenty of other witches out there that feel exactly the same way that you do. And trust me when I tell you that you're eventually going to stumble across something that you really connect with and it's going to make perfect sense to you, and then it'll expand from there. So just like I say, our life's purpose morphs throughout our lifetime, right? We're not here for one particular purpose. We don't have a lifelong life's purpose. It morphs and mutates throughout our lifetime due to our past experiences, right? Due to new opportunities that open up to us, due to new knowledge that we acquire along the way, our passions change. We outgrow certain things and we grow into other things. And it's the same thing when it comes to what you connect with in your tools and your ingredients in your craft. Right now, you may not feel anything from your crystals. You may work specifically with fire and, herbs. But know that that can change. So don't completely leave it out of your realm. I would still say be connected to and conscious of, right? Again, if you think they're beautiful, if you find a really pretty rock, if it means something and it's sentimental to you, and we don't have to also think that crystals need to be the expensive or stones that we use in our craft need to be those expensive, quartz and moldavite and, all those kind of expensive good things, right? Or I shouldn't say good, but those higher end sold items. If you're walking along the beach and you find a rock and it looks gorgeous to you, and you pick it up and you put it in your pocket because it reminds you of your emotions in that moment, that becomes a very powerful stone for you. Again, why? Because it has an emotional connection to it. So use it. Don't feel like that you are limited to anything in your craft. Use anything. If you have a Hot Wheels car that you had from the time you were 6 years old and it means something to you, you can use that in your spell work. You can use that for something that you want to have, maybe assuming that it's still got its wheels and it's fast, right? Something that you need to develop rapidly. Or when you want to manifest your new car. Or when you want to work on bringing travel into your life, right? So you can use anything. So I want to go back real quick and tell you just a quick story when I say that how things can morph and that you shouldn't give up on working with particular things, right? Go back and try them again. Just like when you were a kid and you really didn't like broccoli or something, and then you find in your, late 30s or whatever, you try it again down the road and you go, hey, you know what? That's not so bad. Now it's part of your regular diet. But you would have never thought that 10 years ago, that you would ever like it. But you do now. So that's why I'm saying kind of make your roundabouts, right? Like if you feel something like, oh, I feel pulled to work with a particular stone, then find that stone or pull that stone out of, your collection, whatever it is, and give it a go. Work with it. See if you have that connection, because things change. And sometimes it's just that you didn't find the right thing within the crystals to be able to work with. And there's my personal story that I'm going to tell you about. So when I say, trust me, that you're eventually going to stumble across the things that you really connect with, and it's going to make sense to you. For years, I wanted to grow plants, right? Like my mom is one of those people that could pick up a half dead leaf on the sidewalk, put it in a glass of water, and 2 weeks later, she's got a 4-foot tree. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? Like she's got that green thumb. I did not get that. For a year, I love plants. I love the idea of having plants all in my house, right? Like I want that connection. I want that nature from outside inside kind of thing. For years, I tried all different kinds of plants to grow and sustain. And let's just say that the gods and goddesses and universe did not want me to have that, because they did not give me that green thumb. And in fact, there are plenty of cacti that have been under my watch and have met their demise through my lack of ability. Wasn't lack of trying, wasn't lack of wanting. It was my lack of ability to connect to what I needed to do for them. So again, for years, I just wanted to work with this plant energy, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. And I would even ask for my birthday, from my kids and stuff, what do you want? Oh, give me plants for the front of the house. And they said, well, why would we waste our money? Because you're just going to kill them. Like it was no secret. So about a year ago, I was walking through my grocery store, and they have a floral department, and I saw this plant that I fell in love with from a distance. The flower on it looked like a flame, and I am all about fire, right? This flower was beautiful. It looked like a flame, and I wanted it. I went over there and I picked it up and I looked at it and I thought, oh, this is beautiful. And I put it down because I thought, it's too pretty. I don't want to kill it. I know that if I bring it home, I'm going to kill it. I walked around the store, came around the one side, it came back to that same area again, just the way the store is set up. And I went over and looked at it again and thought, no, I can't, because I don't know what to do with it. This is obviously some kind of tropical plant. I'm like, no way. I can't even keep a cactus alive. Like, how am I going to do this? So went and shopped some more, and came back around to the checkouts, and I had to walk by one more time. I went over and picked that thing up, and I thought, something just told me, I've been here this many times. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to take it home. And I even said to the plant when I picked it up, and I said, I am so sorry if I get you home and it is not what you expected, but I'm going to try. So I brought it home, and I'm going to tell you what, that plant thrived. That plant, the flower on it, again, it's a tropical plant. And you can go to, if you want to take a peek at the plant, you can go to, if you get my emails, it'll be in the email that went out this week. Otherwise, you can go to the website, witchfulways.com, and take a look at the blog on there, and you'll see a picture of these beautiful plants. So it thrived. It has a flower on it that usually lasts about 6 months to a year, they said. Mine lasted just over a year, the flower on it. And now the rest of it only flowers once in its lifetime. The rest of it is like blooming. It's even got little baby ones coming out of it. So then I thought, okay, well, maybe that's a fluke. right? Like I went back to the store and the couple months later they had them there again. I'm like, maybe that's a fluke. I'm going to try and get this one too, because all the flowers look different on them. I'm going to get this one. I got that one and I brought it home and that one flourished as well. So yesterday, or the day before yesterday, actually, back at the same store, they had them out again, different flowers on them. And this one is stunning. And I thought, I've got to get this one. So I just added the third one in. And all of them look amazing. My point is, even though I couldn't connect with other plants through the years, I finally found one type of plant that I can work well with. I mean, it only took me 30 some odd years to find it, but it happened, right? And many plants on the wayside through the years that just didn't make it. But these did, and they will continue to make it because I found something that I can connect with, right? I kept trying and finally stumbled across one type within how many gajillion types that I can work with. So that means there is one type within a gajillion different types of modalities and belief systems and connections that you can make to find what resonates with you and works for you within your practice. Because my motto is, you all know it, what's the motto? My motto is, you do you, witchy poo. Because that is going to make you the most powerful witch that you can be. So go out and explore the different things. And if it doesn't work right now, that's okay. Just keep it on the back burner and maybe try it in a couple years again. Or a couple months when you feel pulled to it. Or when something goes, oh my gosh, I've got to have that. Because that means you're resonating with it. Again, if you want to take a look at my beautiful flowers, you can head over to the website witchfulways.com and take a peek at the blog, and that'll show you my beautiful plants. Otherwise, we'll speak with you next week. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day.